This is subjective, but like in the mirror, people can say within like 1, 2, 3 sessions, they can see like they're tightening up. But people we've trained now for like almost a year and a half straight, they have achieved their tightness goals.
Hey friends, welcome to Keep It Simple Sexy. I'm Christine Bullock, founder of KO Body Care, certified fitness trainer, and mom of 3 little girls who's just trying to juggle it all and feel as good as possible, all while helping you do the same. I'm so grateful that you're here. Now let's get started, sexy. This episode is brought to you by KO Body Care, the leader in face-grade body care and supplements for total body wellness. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Keep It Simple Sexy. I'm your host, Christine Bullock. Well, our next guest duo can give you the body you want 9 times faster than other traditional workouts. 9 times faster, people. Tighter abs, a perkier butt, and all in a workout that takes less time than it does to watch an episode of The Housewives. Sounds too good to be true? All I know is it's become the go-to workout for celebrities, models, athletes, and CEOs here in LA. It's called EMS Training, and this futuristic workout is gaining popularity for its short but effective workouts. It works through electrostimulation of the muscle. I know it sounds a little kinky, but it can work up to 350 muscles all simultaneously. 350 muscles simultaneously. I mean, even the best trainer, I can't do that for you. I've recently started the workout with my husband, which is a miracle in and of itself that he will work out with me. And we both love it. Second miracle. It's like it finds all the muscles we can't or we're too lazy to engage. His core is so much smaller already. It helped repair my core post-baby without 100 Pilates sessions. And it lifted my 40-year-old booty almost instantly. So suit up, because today we're going to shock you, get that pun, with how amazing EMS is for your health and your fitness goals. We have Anthony, Gabriel, and Bridget Whitman, trainers in WB-EMS, it's whole body electrical muscle stimulation, through their brand EMS FIX. They're longtime professional dancers from Broadway to international dance tours, as well as teachers. They bring a unique mind and body conscious perspective to WB-EMS, which has allowed their technique to flourish. They thrive on connecting with people through fitness. Welcome to the show, Bridget and Anthony.
Hey, thank you. That was a great introduction.
Thank you. Well, I mean, this is all you guys and the EMS. So as a background for our viewers, it was actually my OBGYN, Dr. Ty Alibody, who's quite famous in and of herself, who loves your workout so much. And I remember going to her, postnatally, and I was like, wow, I'm not really popping back this time as fast. And I think she had mentioned you guys before when I was pregnant too. But I was like, I'm not popping back. I have a little hernia this time. And she was like, try this. And so amazingly, Bridget and Anthony too, they come to your house, which is really nice as well, because it's very personalized then. Because there are some classes popping up, I think, in group settings, small group settings around Los Angeles, Miami, New York, some of the bigger cities. But it's so nice, exactly what you're saying in your bio, with your dance backgrounds and your fitness backgrounds. You personalize the workouts for both Robert and myself for what he wants to work more in his upper body. I kind of want to work more on my lower body, and really use the technique of the EMS to assist us personally. But for viewers who don't know what EMS is, can you explain what is electric muscle stimulation?
Sure, why not?
That's all you.
All right, electrical muscle stimulation. So generally, day to day when you're working out, you create your own little neurostimulations in your own body, and that's how your muscles voluntarily contract. So we're doing this from an outside source, from a fancy old machine that Christine has given us a lovely introduction on. We bring it to you guys, we hook you up to it, and what happens is through these electrodes, you get this external stimulation. It's only on the muscles, so you don't need to worry about your organs or anything like that. It's a much higher frequency. And basically, we can recruit up to 90% of our muscle fibers through these contractions. Very intense. We can control the intensity, obviously, to personalize the workouts, like Christine was saying. But yeah, that's my introduction. What's your spiel?
Well, EMS, what I really love about it is that, so in a traditional strength workout, you are not really contracting all the muscles all the time, but with this, with every contraction, you feel it, your whole body's engaged. So there's very little room for error. As far as any like favoring one side, it really helps with the imbalances. And that really just comes from, like Anthony was mentioning, the muscle recruitment. I mean, we're recruiting so much muscle fiber to create that deeper contraction. And then on top of all of it, it's 20 minutes and it's so effective. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, going back, because if you guys have tuned into my podcast before, you know I used to work with like microcurrent machines, which I feel like these are step ups from what we used to work with. But it mimics what this current is what your brain, you know, it's a current that your brain sends to engage. Like you're telling your muscle to do that.
Exactly.
If you've seen like the Bad Guys movie, it's a cartoon. Like they do this like little stim and he tells all the hamsters to do whatever. But it's the same thing your brain does. Can you tell I have little kids? And, you know, like, we think too, you know, as just a side note, hydration needs to make that happen. So for you guys during your workouts, you know, we need to be hydrated for that current to work effectively. But how much you could literally be full mind control and you still can't engage all of those muscles, all of those muscle fibers. And I think that that's something that's huge because most of the time we're engaging our larger muscle groups and we don't find the ancillary muscles. And it's really the ancillary muscles that protect us as we age that can create a better metabolism because you have more muscles going on, even though they're finer and more tuned, that gave that beautiful defined physique. And that really, you know, it helped to correct your imbalances too. So it's amazing what it can do. And like, you really don't have to think too much about it as long as you're just slightly paying attention.
Totally. Yeah. That's a beautiful thing. You don't have to be like an expert in fitness to understand the workout or to even get the benefits of the workout. That's, you know, that's what's amazing about it.
My husband doesn't listen to the podcast, so I can say, just look at Bob.
Exactly.
So
then,
what
like,
would you,
two things,
go ahead.
Two things you touched on. I just want to like reiterate hydration. Totally important. That actually is what allows the stimulation to happen. You know, we're made up of mostly water. So you have to pass through something to get to your muscles. So as you know, and we've experienced this with other people, if you're not hydrated, you can get some cramps, but that's, you know, that's rare.
During the workout or afterwards?
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah, so some like Charlie horses, but I'm not trying to scare anybody here.
No, you don't. I mean, I've been dehydrated and done your workout and I haven't felt anything yet. Yeah. Super hungover on a bender the night before, I'm sure. Like super dehydrated.
And then, like the micro muscle groups that you were touching on as well. That's something that is like really important to us even. We spend years in dance trying to understand how to engage our bodies that way. And EMS allows us to get there so quickly. And that's what like really sold us in the beginning. Especially for, you know, Asian people.
Yeah, well, me, that's we're pro-aging. I just interviewed a podcast, so we say, like pro-aging people. But but having injuries myself, especially from being in dance and being a fitness instructor for so long, but a lot of people, whether you're doing that or not, have torn shoulders, whatever it is. My hip flexors always take over. And so for my quads, for my abs, it's hard to deeply, if I'm lifting my legs, it is really hard to engage everything else properly. And it was so amazing to me on our last session that in doing whatever exercises we were, where normally it would just be my hip flexors taking over, my core actually worked deeply like how it was supposed to work. And what's amazing about that is then it starts to retrain your own body to find those muscles and that connection when you're doing it later. I feel like I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but there's just so many, we're getting into all the benefits, but there's so many benefits to this.
Totally.
So how is this different than a regular workout? We kind of just touched, and you can say why it's so effective. We touched on that a little bit, but.
Yeah. Well, first off, it's 20 minutes, and those 20 minutes of electromuscle stimulation is equal to about 3 sessions of traditional strength training. So that in itself is just efficient and super effective. And with that muscle fiber recruitment that we're having, we're fatiguing the muscle faster. And so then we're getting the same fatigue And so you just get the stimulation, the muscles start to tire out faster. It gets a deeper contraction. So then we can rebuild the muscle to make it stronger and better.
Yeah, definitely. Up to like 90% of your muscle recruitment, which, in conventional strength training, it's
How can we do
down
that?
into,
We
like,
can't do that.
60 to
Yeah.
80,
Yeah.
like 80 on the high end. So
Yeah.
I don't think I've even done that. Yeah.
And even still, like you get sore in places you never knew you even had muscles,
totally.
especially in the glutes.
Yeah.
Like it gets your glutes so sore, but in such a great way. Like the way then you feel it after, and you're just like, wow, I've never walked like this, because those little muscles are just engaged now, and you're like, wow, I can walk up the stairs without my knee wobbling, or it's just like little minute things that just happen with EMS that I don't think you can even really get, no matter how much weight you put on, or how much weight you're carrying on for strength training, or you're pulling, or whatever it is. Like, it doesn't matter. Like you're just never going to be able to get that same contraction.
And just to kind of like dive into that too, because you're talking about the glutes and we talk about the perky butt. And I said, I saw like a lift after the first session. And that was something at 40, I'm like, it's like my butt. It's just this different shape at this point. And I know all the exercises to do, from Pilates to yoga to little strength training to big weights, all that. And I just couldn't get it. And part of the reason was that the front of my body, again, goes kind of back to my hip flexors, and the whole front of my body is so tight that you can't stretch past the tightness in the front of your body to properly engage everything that you need to in the back of the body. You also could have hamstrings that take over. You can have a low back that takes over. You could have like a piriformis that takes over on most people too, or dancers, from our turnout and all that, instead of hitting those like low glutes. And that's the first session. I was so sore. I could not walk for days. I'm never sore, people. Never. I don't feel sore. I could do hours of workouts for whatever reason, and I'm tired or I'm injured, but not sore. So sore, could not walk stairs, could not sit down and get back up. But it was right under the little smiley face on the butt cheeks. It was like that part that I need lifted, and it just reshapes the whole butt. And you can think about that too, like, with any of the other muscles as well. I mean, I've been sore in the other parts, but exactly what you're saying. It's so good for lifting your butt. Everyone's signing up right now. All the ladies are signing. I'm telling you. It's so good. I've not found anything that does it like that. Well, we're talking about a couple of the benefits. What are some of any of the benefits, any of the other physical benefits that you've seen, or, anything extra benefits as well?
I kind of touched on it a little bit before, but definitely as a dancer growing up, and still to this day, we tend to favor one side of our body, whether we're kicking the right leg all the time or we're always standing on the left. I have a ton of muscular imbalances, and I've been doing this for 2 years now. I've just noticed a huge shift in my body and strength, and just been able to not feel always fatigued on the right side or too stretched on one side, or the front of my body nice and tight like you, and the back just like, too strong, and the back, especially my lower back. I've always had lower back issues just from, I was an acrobat when I was younger, and the strength in my back, my lower back specifically, whenever I do this workout, I just feel 10 times better, because I'm able to stimulate.
I love that part too, because I think that's so hard to get, or like I have a lot of back pain still from tiny little injuries. So it's like you kind of go so far and then you're like, oh, I don't want to go too far. And it's amazing how it strengthens the back without kind of tweaking it in ways that normal strength training can do. And whether you're a dancer or not too, I have to say, like, being a mother, and especially newborns, my goodness, we're so imbalanced because we're holding these babies and then they get two and you're still holding them. And, a lot of times I'm holding with my left hand, so I have my right hand free, and you're completely imbalanced, and you have to regain all of that, or it's going to continue to follow you unless you fix it.
Yeah. And what's cool, again, about the stimulation is that it's only going to contract the muscle as much as the weaker muscle can handle. So because it's a circular stimulation, that it's not, the stronger muscle isn't going to get stronger. We're going to wait for that weaker muscle to catch up to that stronger muscle. And then we just keep building from there until we're balanced.
Totally.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Do you want to talk about metabolic?
Just going back to her question about the benefits. I mean, the list is so long, I just want to touch on some things that we have worked on with people with is back pain. Whether it's like all over the back, specifically the lower back though. So some of the like research that's been done in university, up to like 90% of people report better back pain. Chronic back fatigue has increased, or I should say decreased. The way they feel has increased. Up to 90% of people, and that's men and women. So that's really cool for us. And we worked on people with that a lot. I've worked on an older guy who had spine surgery, help recover. So we're doing a little bit of fitness and rehabilitation at the same time. She was touching on the metabolic rate, which is something that like is really our bread and butter when it comes to EMS. Obviously, we're all about strengthening and looking good. But if you can get, up there with us, and we're going to push you to get there, you can actually start to get your heart rate going like, at an elevated level. You're breathing, you're getting your cardio system going. So you do get the benefits, the double benefits when you're doing this workout of not only strength training, but a little bit of cardio as well.
Yeah. And what's really cool about EMS is because it's such an intense contraction and those muscles are repairing for about 72 hours after, your metabolism is up because your body's working on repairing those muscles to make you stronger and better. So that's really cool.
Yeah. And, most people find that their sweet spot is once a week. Amazing. 20 minutes once a week. That, efficient to the max.
Yeah. We can all fit that in. Yeah.
Exactly. And you need about 3 days of recovery, like she was saying. So we do have people who do twice a week, but we find that once a week is ideal in addition to other forms of working out. So,
outside of it. Yes.
Yeah. And I love that you're saying too, that you can add this in with other workouts too. It doesn't mean that this is necessarily your one workout a week, although I know people who do this just one time a week and that's it. And they look amazing and they feel great too. But you can add this into other workouts. You can do it into heavier strength training workouts. You can add it into your Pilates, to your yoga, to your running, and it's just going to help you perform better in all those other aspects as well.
Totally.
The Keep It Simple Sexy podcast is brought to you by KO Body Care. Right after I turned 30, something happened that I was not expecting. I noticed the skin on my body was aging faster than the skin on my face. Crepiness, sunspots, fine lines, and wrinkles, they all seemed to creep up overnight. And then it hit me. I'd been using all sorts of powerful anti-aging ingredients on my face, but I wasn't doing the same for the skin on my body. So that's when I had that aha moment to create KO Body Care. KO is face grade body care, which means that it's pure and effective enough for the face, but formulated just for the body. We use the same ingredients as high-end clean skincare brands to help skin look smoother, brighter, firmer, and younger. The product that put us on the map was our Body Beautiful Cream. Beauty editors are obsessed with it because it combines clean, natural ingredients, omega oils, green tea, mangosteen, goji berry with clinical actives like hyaluronic acid and CoQ10. It leaves the skin feeling so hydrated, so smooth, so soft, and even gives your collagen production a boost. So are you ready to see what face grade body care can do for you? Then go to kobodycare.com. For our first time users, use the special code KISS20 for 20% off your purchase.
I wanted to speak on a little bit more of our personal experience because I feel like that comes through a lot with EMS. I've had knee surgery, like rib surgery here, things like that. And the way I've been able to correct my imbalances, as she was talking about earlier, has been kind of life-changing. I feel like my right leg's always been my weaker one. That's the one I've had surgery on. I've been able to develop the micro muscles around my knee to help strengthen it. And I try to favor that now. I almost feel as stable on that side as my other side. She also has dealt with some like lower back issues, and we've been able to work through that. It's really cool. And then touching on, getting a little unprofessional here, but like we definitely work with people on building their booties. Booty and abs.
That's not unprofessional.
We're like a specialist right there in that department. So we'll take extra care if that's your goals too.
Talking postnatally too, that's a whole other thing as well, is that for my husband, look, I'll say core, right? So this is a man that is not a fitness professional, doesn't want to hear it from me either. So I never say anything to him, of form and all of that. but his waistline has shrunk, and we've only done like 3 or 4 sessions
Mhm.
dramatically without any other workouts, because we haven't really had any time. So it's not like a whole weight loss, like we're in it to win it 7 days a week right now. So it's absolutely his muscle formation that has done that for him. And for me, postnatally, I definitely, like, I had a hernia going through it. It was a mild one, but through this second pregnancy. And I must have still had it from the first one, because I had it pretty quickly with this. And it was great. Like, once approved to go back and all of that, you have to go through all that. And I'm just very aware of my body. I know how to contract and draw in the muscles, all that. It was amazing because I had done a couple fitness sessions beforehand, maybe a handful, maybe, I don't know, half a dozen. And I still had like a major hernia, like it was just difficult. I was like, this is going to take forever to prepare. I wonder if I need surgery. I don't know. And we did like 2 sessions, and then I went back to another workout, and I was like 50% better. I mean, like, I could do all these things. My core was back. It was so strong. Like, I don't have to worry about, like, I don't have the separation anymore. I'm sure it's still underneath, but like, you can't visually see it. So even as a Pilates expert, and I could go back and do 100 Pilates sessions, or maybe 50, and be where I need to be, and really really focused in. This was so much better because it was faster, 1, but 2, it helped me to find that deeper core that is sometimes like your outer muscles really take over. And everybody needs that kind of like pelvic floor, deeper muscle contractions. And this just enables you to find it. So then you can get it in your workouts too.
Totally.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad you touched on that, because we draw a lot of our technique from like our pelvic floor, our center in general. Our deep center. And go ahead.
And because we're stimulating on the abs and the lower back and the upper back and the lats, we're bringing not just the abs in, but what we're doing is we're taking our entire trunk, and it's just contracting to the center, so we can build that real true core inside of our like body, and which actually does come from the pelvic floor. That's our base. That's where we stand. So it's really cool that you can really just feel that stimulation all around the trunk here. And when standing, especially, and you know this firsthand, is you're standing in that stance and you're just squeezing everything in and it's coming from the ground up, and it's going all the way from the feet to the legs, to the glutes, to the core. And it's just like this tightening that's happening that I just don't know that I could ever feel it in any other workout.
I could never do it.
And because I can do only up to what I can do. And then it just gives you that extra like little squeeze, so you can really get deep down in there.
Yeah. And even if you find it for like, I feel like I find it for a second, and not even that amount of muscles, but it goes back to even like hip flexors taking over. What's happening is that I get such a deep contraction that they don't have to work. My body's working the way that it appropriately should be then, which is just amazing.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on Bob's experience of, his midsection, because that's another, we were just, rolling through our studies quick, and it's crazy how many people in scientific studies report that as well. I think it's somewhere in the range of, depending on your age, somewhere between like 60 to 90% of people who do EMS tighten up in the midsection.
After like 4 to 10 sessions, depending on.
Totally. It can be as little as a couple sessions.
Yeah. I've seen it. Like I said, I think we've done 3-4 sessions, maybe total with you. And for both of us in our departments where we need it. And, he's had hip surgery too. He's had shoulder surgeries too, but hip surgery is kind of major. And like, I'm just really glad that he's doing this, because chasing kids, holding kids, bouncing babies, sitting, it all aggravates it again. And it kind of makes me nervous. I'm like, I don't want you 60 and, having a cane all the time, because he'll go back and forth between it. And so I'm so glad that he has this now in order for like a constant physical therapy for that, to help fully rehab it, because he had it in the first place because he wasn't using his muscles properly, right? And so now we need to retrain the whole body's movement in order to prevent that in the future.
Definitely longevity. That's important.
Longevity. That's exactly it. Like, we're talking about perkier butt and stuff, but I think that there's so many benefits for longevity of this.
We think about that a lot.
EMS. Speaking of too, kind of like longevity, because there's benefit to the current too, I think, for like skin and oxygenation, right?
Totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what the stimulation is doing, it's actually shaking up your mitochondria. So in the skin, so that's helping with any cellulite. We have a lot of clients that are like, I've noticed my cellulite's slightly gone. Is that because of this? And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy. Like it really does, because it's stimulating. It has to, in order to get to the muscle, it has to pass through our skin and then our fat layer and then our muscle before it can actually hit. So we're getting all of that nice and tight and squeezed. So it's just like scrubbing. If you were to scrub your body to tighten it up or just to get the beauty benefits of it, it's
blood
the same
flow and
thing.
oxygen. Yeah,
Exactly.
It's actually deeper. I mean, if it's actually stimulating the mitochondria, that's even more, I think, than when you're doing any kind of stimulation like dry brushing, gua shawing, all of that, which is blood flow and oxygen. But that's even better.
Even deeper,
yeah. That's amazing. So now I'm making my skin young.
Exactly. Yeah.
Makes it tighter and tauter, and it's really those are just like side benefits, you know, of the strength training. It's just really cool of what microcurrents can really do for your body all over.
Yeah. How did you guys find it?
So during the pandemic, we moved back to LA, and we were kind of just looking for. I was looking because dance was out of work. And so I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. So I got introduced to it and I just fell in love with it instantly. And then about a year later after training, I was like, we should really like commit and invest in ourselves and in a machine and like, let's do this. And so, yeah, we've been on our own for about a year now, and it's been really fulfilling. And we have so much passion for this workout. We love fitness and working out and dance and all those things, but like, there's just something about EMS. And I think a lot of it does have to do with our clients too. We love our clientele. They're amazing people. And connecting with them. But the workout, man, it really is life changing. Like I've never really.
It's one of those things I feel like hit us like a freight train.
It's
like we never really thought we'd have this in our lives. We didn't even really. I mean, we kind of knew what EMS was, but like we didn't know it to this extent. And as soon as we tried it, I will admit it took me a couple sessions to really like figure it out on my own body. Not because I was skeptical. I was just like, how can I make this the most efficient for me? But once I got to a point where I understood it, it didn't take long. But oh man, I was all in.
And I think oh, go ahead. We also, touching on all that, I think we really just love learning about our bodies naturally from growing up dancing, and to find this new, deeper contraction, a new, deeper level of understanding our body and how it works. Like, obviously we know neurons contract the muscles, but like, it's really cool to learn that we can have a machine that can help us contract our muscles even more. And just, we took a 3-day course for our expert training license when we got the machines, and it was like mind blowing. I was like, wow, it makes sense. But then when you actually read it in like a textbook in a classroom setting, you're like, wow, this is so cool. And the experience of just getting that deeper knowledge about the body and everything was just really awesome. So
100%. There's so much to learn. Like I feel like even with what we've learned so far, we barely scratched the surface. We just I don't know, we found that we want to keep diving in, and I think that is why it has stuck with us and why it's like our life essentially.
Definitely.
I think they're going to continue to find so many other health benefits to it too, because if our body is made up of current and we're utilizing it in a way and kind of like boosting it, I just wonder how many other ways it's going to be able to assist people, in pro-aging or preventative kind of stuff too. So neurological issues, all of that.
There's so much.
So too, I mean, for people to understand as well, so EMS, like if you've heard of M-Sculpt, I think, and there's a couple other brands out there because they're probably your plastic surgeons, some of your spas have it, your dermatologist office, more and more popping up with this where you just lay on a bed, and typically they treat like one area at a time. So they'll do your belly or they'll do your butt. So for you guys, one, how is that different with what you guys are doing? And why don't you walk us through what a session is like with you as well?
Okay. Cool. I'll go through the differences and then I'll let you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what the difference is between like M-Sculpt, that's localized stim. So that's going to be just a placement on the belly or the butt or wherever you want a little bit of tightening. And you're just going to lay there and it's just going to contract those involuntary muscles. The difference between whole body EMS is that we are contracting the entire body. And we not only are just contracting the entire body, we're also contracting our own body by doing dynamic and static movements such as squats that you would do in a traditional strength training workout, bicep curls, shoulder press, lunges, crunches, all the things. Yeah. And so that's the real difference. And that's where I think the benefits, the long-term benefits come in. I think M sculpts are really good for quick fixes of like, oh, I have a photo shoot. I want my abs to look really tight tomorrow. I'm going to go do this. Those things are good for those moments, but they don't really last because we're only hitting those involuntary muscles where we're really getting our own muscles that we already know how to work and with the movement and then the electrocurrent on top of that to really create that deeper contraction.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that was a good summary. I think the most important thing, like Bridget said, is the localized versus the whole body. We're geared towards, well, first off, our electrodes are very big. They cover the entire body. And we're geared more towards fitness and a workout and developing an entire body program to build, not only burn calories and, burn fat, but build muscle. Whereas a localized stim is more about just like rebuilding connections in a very small area. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's very similar technology.
Well, it's a little inefficient in my terms. Like now I'm thinking, I'm like, how many sessions do I have at that place that I've just wasted? Because, it's like 20 minutes of you guys versus 20 minutes of that. 20 minutes of like only my abs, not even my back, like you're saying, not even the full core connection, the lats, everything we were saying, or the whole thing. And the, blasting calories after all that kind of stuff too. So
yeah.
Walk us through a session of what it feels like, because it's pretty fun, guys. I feel like James Bond as they're strapping me up, getting ready.
Yeah, so we have all of our equipment basically in these big Pelly cases. We roll through and we set up the machine. Then we lay so the full outfit looks like there's functional underwear is what we call it. It's basically biker shorts and a short sleeve top, very fashionable, very cute.
Cute. They are cute.
They are really.
I should have worn it. Sorry.
No, I love it. And then we have 2 arm straps that we strap around your bicep and tricep, so that creates a whole contraction. The vest has 7 or 8 electrodes.
2, 4, 6, 8.
Yeah, 8. So you have your 2 abs. You have 2 on your chest. Each chest. You have your lower back, your upper back, and then your lats. Then we have a glute belt that kind of straps around, buckles in the front, and there's 2 pads that fit right on those cheeks perfectly. And then we have 2 leg straps that we kind of try to put on the meat of the muscle. Then we have these little connecting wires that we hook up. Everything connects to the vest, and then there's a big old cable that connects to the actual machine, and that's where you get your stimulation from.
Yeah. Basically, we walk into your home or your office. We tell you to strip down and throw these clothes on.
Yeah.
And we'll spray down these electrodes.
Then you spray down with water. Yeah.
So, you depending on where we're working out, you might feel a little chilly for a second.
Yeah.
But we hope that fades quick because then we get into the workout very quickly. And we usually, so it's 20 minutes on the timer, but for first timers, we'll usually spend about 2 to 3 minutes just dialing in each muscle group to introduce you to see how your body feels and how it reacts. Because everyone is different. We have to be alert of that.
Yeah.
Especially, So
some people are more sensitive for sure than other people. Like I'm like, turn it up. I find that, but I've known people having put these machines, those older versions of machines on people. Some people are like,
Totally,
very sensitive to it. Yeah. And it doesn't mean it hurts at all. It's just like your body is just, I don't know. Or your mind, mind, people. Yeah.
Yes, that too.
Or it's a mental thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And like for our clients, it's all up to them. Like we're not going to be like, oh, you need to be at 70.
No.
This knob needs to be at 70. It's completely up to you. We're also watching your muscles for that engagement. We don't want them to be jumping too hard, or if we're not seeing anything, we're like, you can handle a little bit more here. Yeah. And then if it is too much, they just say that's a little too much for us. And then we just turn it down a little bit. Yeah. So your first session will take you through, like Anthony was saying, all the different muscle groups. And then from there, we just kind of slowly turn you up during the session. We usually start with like legs and squats and lunges just to get your body warm. And then we can start to move into the more dynamic movement, like the crunches or the moving through the stimulation.
Balancing.
The balances, some floor work,
what was I gonna say? We're also very big on safety. That's like what we've also learned in our training too. So just going back to like before we actually start the stimulation, like if you have any like contraindications, but generally if you're cleared to strength training, you're good to go with EMS.
Yes.
You walked right into my next question, which is what are contraindications?
Cool. We can get into that a little bit more. Finishing like the session talk. Yeah, so we really play off our clients. Like we're really good at like feeling out where you're at and what you need. So some, we generally start very basic with everyone, but if we feel people are progressing quickly, like we'll move with you. Like we'll get you to there. Or if we feel like we need to hold back and work on certain things more, we'll also, we're also down to keep it basic, because you can get just as many of the benefits from the basic positions as you come from. Like mountain climbing, I don't know, whatever.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we love personalizing it too. I mean, we're always like, what do you guys want to work on today? Like, what's feeling off today? What do you want to strengthen? So if they're like, oh, my back, I slept on my shoulder weird. So like maybe some arm strengthening, or like, I really want to work on my butt and my abs. And I'm like, I got you. Like, let's do that today. It's forever changing. I mean, I can walk in that session and they could be exhausted and they're like, I am just so tired. I was up all night. Like, and I'll be like, okay, let's go to the floor, like,
and it really does energize you too. Again, because when you're tired, your neural connection is much slower as well. Everything is. You're probably dehydrated too, and so it really gives you a nice boost of energy as well.
Yeah, it does.
It really does. And that blood flow is where it really comes from. Then you're just,
that's something like everyone mentions too. Like everyone says they feel better, they feel more energized, their day is just like alive after EMS. And we feel the same way too.
Definitely.
It's cool.
I love it.
Awesome. So who would be contraindicated for this workout?
So no pregnant people.
Pregnancy is no go.
No go.
Yeah.
There's just not enough research on it because it is still such a new technology. We just don't know what that stimulation would
for
do.
fitness.
Fitness. Would do. So there's not pregnant, no pregnancy.
Any sort of implant, like
electrical
any
implant.
sort of metal implant is a no go.
Can you not do it? Can you do it on another part of the body, or just nothing? If you have a metal implant.
I did want to go back to that. I actually, I jumped myself. So, okay. So metal is okay. Like if you have plates or structures that have from like surgery
or knees,
those are unaffected. Fine. Yeah. I'm talking more like an active implant, such as like a pacemaker or maybe something for like diabetes or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Just because we don't want to mess with the whatever that it's working on. We don't want to mess that current up. Yeah. Also, heart and kidney problems.
Yep.
If you have any kidney diseases or heart diseases, we really want to clear those with a doctor. That doesn't necessarily mean you can't do it. We just need to make sure that you are cleared to do electrostim, any kind, and basic strength training. And besides that, anyone else is pretty much cleared.
Yeah. For like a minimum age, you have to have gone through puberty.
Yeah.
We don't really work with young people that much, but we have trained like 17, 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
And then as far as on the high end, we've trained people all the way up to like 75. So
yeah, and just starting to count. That's probably just the client that you've had so far,
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I could see my mom doing this too, and I can see it really benefiting people as they're aging, and obviously just starting at like a much lower level for them, depending on their athleticism and where they're at, but. Can you imagine something where you can do minimal squats, arm presses without weights, all that kind of stuff, and be getting so much strength from it? It's just so beneficial.
Without the stress of like the weights. So it's just like
on your joints and everything.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think too, like one thing too, I notice is it really helps to increase my flexibility in normal positions. Not like you're like stretching your leg up behind your ear, but like in a side lunge where normally like my piriformis or something, my glute is locked up, because I'm engaging the right muscles. You just feel that mobility. I should say mobility, maybe not flexibility.
Yeah, that's
a lot more.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Well, are there any other benefits that you want to mention, or like what people will see short term versus what they're going to see sticking with this long term?
Short term, I think we kind of touched on it, is like the strength in other activities, which I really love. And then long term, you really start to see like long term, for me personally, it's been now almost 2.5 years. And the shape of my body has just been insane. like I look back at old photos and I'm just like, wow, I was not boxy, but I had a dancer body. I was very like slender and slim and kind of just straight. But now I have like a little bit of a little waist cinched in, and then a little booty, and then some arm definition, and like it's just really cool without having to like lift a bunch of weights, which I really do love weight training, but I do find that it bulks me a little bit because I think I did it when I was younger a lot. And what I really love about this is that it keeps that slender muscle without, and the toning and the tightness without it actually like
the metabolism, everything.
And everything. Yeah, the long term, I think you can really look for a body shape and body shape isn't everything, but it's more just like you just feel and look better. I don't know.
Everyone's goals are
you
different.
hit your goals. Yeah, you hit your personal goals.
Totally.
And the one thing I wanted to add to that was because everyone's goals are different, we've had a lot of different experiences. And
100%.
And I can't think of a moment where we haven't helped someone get to where they want to be.
Yeah.
And I know that's like very like exuberant, but we're confident, like we've worked with people through everything, like literally everything.
Yeah.
So going back to your question, like the short-term benefits, I feel like obviously you're gonna feel sore, no doubt.
Oh yeah.
I'm still sore from our last session. It's like last week sometime.
Yeah.
Usually like your first like 6 sessions, and especially that very first one can be the most sore you'll probably ever feel with us, just because it's brand new. It's like hitting your body pretty hard. Depending on how intense we go, of course, but generally we want to get you in that like range where we're working.
You're gonna feel it.
Yeah. Short-term, people report higher metabolism, more energy, thirstier. Obviously, you need more water to like flush this out. Yeah, and that's your metabolism going up. People, and this is subjective, but like in the mirror, people can say within like 1, 2, 3 sessions, they can see like they're tightening up.
Yeah.
Maybe not, losing, body weight or whatever they're getting through, but they can tell they're tightening. And then as we go longer and longer with people we've trained now for like almost 1.5 years straight, they have achieved their tightness goals and their body weight goals. And now we're just at a stage of where we can maintain it. And that's been really cool too. So
definitely
in the short term, I feel like your jumps are huge. Like in the first like 6 to 10 weeks, they're huge.
Yeah.
And then after that, EMS just keeps it right there. If that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
And I have to say too about the metabolism, like I was kind of like, I doubted a little bit that it was going to truly boost my metabolism, even though I know more muscle mass creates that. But out of one session, I was like, it's not like for me with PCOS especially, it's hard to boost my metabolism and lose weight. And so for me, it's like, I have to do dance actually. Like I have to do that high intensity kind of cardio dance. It's the only thing, or just normal high intensity, but I don't like that with strength training for me personally. Or it's like I start gaining weight. I'll have muscle and tone, but it is amazing. Like I can immediately tell day to day where my metabolism is, based on just gaining weight pretty quickly, to be perfectly honest. And I was a believer after like the first time, but after doing multiple sessions and seeing it and not working out normally right now, because I just don't have the time for me to be able to lose weight postnatally, to sustain the weight postnatally, under high stress and no sleep too. You can absolutely tell, but you can tell through the thirst, through, the hunger, all that kind of stuff too.
Definitely.
Yeah. And you like she said earlier, I think you get that for up to 3 to 4 days afterwards. You might notice you're wanting to eat more afterwards. And, we'll encourage people to, hold back because, so you can start to like.
Depends on your goals. Yeah.
Exactly. But
just don't eat your kids' snacks. Like that's what I just try to avoid. Protein's good. Protein and veggies. Well, if you guys, live locally in the Los Angeles area, I obviously cannot recommend Bridget and Anthony more. My own physician recommended them to me as well. So this is almost under a physician's care, also as a friend. But you can mention you heard the podcast for $20 off your first booking, and you can find them on TikTok and Instagram at EMS FIX. EMS FIX, obviously. And the website is emsfix.square.site. And you can find it, in the verbiage on all the podcasts or on YouTube. You'll see it in all the underwriting as well. Let's just end with one little speed round question. What is the first thing that you guys do when you wake up?
So check messages, see who's working out, see who's not working out.
That's true. I know.
Maybe a little kiss for Bridget and Cricket, which is our dog right here.
Aw, she's been so good.
And water and coffee.
Yeah, first always checking those messages, and then water, coffee, and I try to eat my breakfast before I drink my coffee, but sometimes I just need that coffee to get going.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining us on the show. I appreciate it. I can't wait to get our own session. I'm even more enthusiastic now. I'm going to miss you guys over this little break, but but I cannot recommend them more, guys. And this workout, I think it's something that's so awesome, a little futuristic to, add into your weekly or even at least your monthly routine. You can be in sync with George Jetson here with this workout. Mm-hmm. But I'm here for it. If it can activate 98% of my muscles simultaneously, get a deeper contraction, boost my skin health, extend my fat burning, and do it all in 20 minutes a week, sign me up. So
us too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bridget and Anthony. I appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you're subscribed and feel free to share this with a friend or family who needs to hear it. Have questions you need answered? Text me at 1-310-361-8697. Make sure you're following me on social at Christine Bullock, and have a healthy, happy week. See you next time.